Hey all, welcome to Newspaper Breakdown. It is the 16th of the 2nd. I hope we're all fine. 5 news stories to go through. We'll start with Britain has said that it will issue 2 new licenses to make it easier for aid agencies helping earthquake relief efforts operating in Syria without breaching sanctions aimed at the government of Assad and his backers. This is actually a nice news story to start with, on a tragedy, of course. The combined death tolls from Turkey and Syria is over 41,000 at the moment. We've got millions in need of humanitarian aid, with survivors left homeless during winter as well, so freezing conditions. So there's a true tragedy and need for humanitarian aid at the moment. In Syria, the aid effort has been hampered by the civil war that has divided the country and global powers as well, with a lot of the likes of, say, Russia and China supporting Assad, and people who aren't massive fans of the use of chemical weapons on people not so doing that. The British government said that the temporary new licenses would strengthen the timely and effective delivery of the relief effort by removing the need for individual license applications. So this is truly good news. This is good work from the government, and it's such a rarity that you can start anything by saying well done to the government. The licenses provide broad protections to organisations to allow them to operate by authorising activities which would have otherwise been prohibited. So we start, good news. The government's doing a nice thing. It's a surprise, it's a win, delightful. Hopefully that organisations can now help more people. We got researchers from the Institute for Public Policy Research and Chatham House have said that the world is at risk of descending into a climate doom loop. So no longer any good news. With simply coping with the escalating impacts of the climate crisis, potentially drawing resources away and focus away from slashing carbon emissions. So one of the issues that we have with this is that we are just trying to keep our head above water. We're not trying to swim in the right direction. We're just trying to make sure we don't drown. And the longer that we do that for, the longer that we're just dealing with the impacts of everything that's happening and not the fact of the actual problems, then you're only going to get worse. Resources are being used to plug the hole instead of get rid of the fucking water. The world is already spending billions recovering from climate disasters, with the disasters causing cascading problems on water, food and energy, as well as increased migration and conflict that are all draining resources. Researchers said to avoid a doom loop, we need to be more honest. We need more honest acceptance from our politicians. So kiss your ass goodbye, we're fucked. Along with honesty over the looming prospect of tipping points, where we are coming to a point where the help that we need will be too late. And it's true, honesty is the only thing that we that can make a difference. But we've got so many conspiracy theorists, thick as shit dickheads. You've got lobbying from oil and gas companies up the wazoo, whilst they're making record profits. And then we're meant to be honest. And people have to accept it, and they have to accept the honesty, and they're never going to do that, are they? People are dumb. One of the things that would be useful is the not only the honesty with regards to the troubles, tipping points, the danger that we face, but also combine that with the narratives that focus on the great benefits of climate action brought, and ensuring policies that are fairly implemented. Because with all of these big things, big ideas, we can get tons of good out of it and fundamentally change how we consider the world. New technologies will be created, new industries, new ways of making food, new ways of heating and creating energy. And that would be a great way of selling it, because all of this is a sell, really. You have to sell the fact that the world is ending to people, and do it in such a way that they're like, oh God, I'm really excited for the next step. And you have to sell better than the people on the other side who are telling you that there's actually no problem, everything's fine, you're doing great. Have I told you you look lovely this evening, by the way? Or is that new cologne? You have to sell better than them. And what I would consider the right side, be it on Brexit, be it on corruption, be it on not being a massive racist, all of these correct sides, well, personally I feel correct sides, all of them are shit at selling. That's why we still have racism, because selling the ideals of treating everyone as equals hasn't worked. The fact that Brexit went through showed that the people who are trying to sell not kamikazing the country off of a fucking cliff did it badly, didn't do it as well as the others who had a much better argument of, yeah, but they are foreign, and people just lap that bollock up. And so the climate change is the next and probably the most important of all of them, where we have to sell it better. We have to sell, listen, forget that the world's ending, forget all of that. This new technology, this new step on humanity will be fucking wonderful for you. If you can sell it like that, then you have a chance of things actually changing. Of course, you do have to go and kill every oil and gas company. But in oil and gas, there's more news stories. In a rare bit of legal action, the Financial Conduct Authority has been hit with a claim by environmental groups over the claim that it unlawfully signed off listing documents that allegedly failed to adequately outline oil and gas procedure. Now, this is for Ithaca Energy's climate change risk. This is the first time that an environmental law charity, this is Client Earth, which has a record of successful claims, has targeted the FCA. First off, Client Earth is a dreadful fucking name. You can just imagine the type of people who work at Client Earth, and they make your skin crawl, but they're doing fantastic work. They've also recently filed a claim against Royal Dutch Shell directors personally over their response to the climate change risks. Both petitions are yet to be accepted by the court, which must now decide whether to grant permission for the cases to be allowed. We'll hopefully know in a couple of days if they have allowed it. If they have, fantastic. It is about time. Client Earth has said that Ithaca's prospectus acknowledged that climate change posed a threat to oil and gas companies, but was too general to leave investors fully informed or to meet prospectus regulation, which requires companies to disclose material risks. This particular story is one of the more interesting ones we've seen, I think, over the past few months for climate change, because you can march all you like, you can tweet all you like, you can say what we need to do, and you can glue yourself to fucking everything. But I tell you what's probably going to make the most difference is going after their wallets. And you do that with lawsuits. You sue the fuckers. You've got Nigeria are currently suing an oil and gas company. I can't remember which one. It may be Shell. But that's the only way that we're really going to do it. You have to hit the fucking pockets. You have to make all these oil and gas bastards who are working their asses off to destroy the world. You have to hit them the only place you can. Because you go marching, it'll make no fucking difference. I've heard people for years, especially the left, going, 1 million people marched to stop the Iraq war, and you fucking didn't. You didn't. Striking works. Protesting doesn't. Suing the fuckers, now that works. That fucking works. Because the law is the law. And so if you can find them doing something wrong, that is how you start it. I mean, I'm not saying you get rid of protests altogether, but that is the way. Use the law, hit the bastards. It's why it's always fun seeing someone go after the government, which is one of the reasons why, if you have a look at the Bill of Rights, which Dominic Raab wants to bring in, one of the major things that the Bill of Rights does is force UK judges to give preferential treatment to the government, because they do not want to be taken to court, because every time they get taken to court, a lot of the times they lose, because they're breaking the law. The law is important. The law is good. You have to, that's how you beat people. You beat people in their own fucking game, because they can't wriggle out of it. You can't wriggle out of it. Anyway, we'll carry on with another story on oil and gas. This is after making a record £3.3 billion profit in 2022, Centica insisted that one company could not solve Britain's cost of living crisis. They could fucking try to help though, couldn't they? Centrica also announced an extension of its share buyback scheme, which you would have seen a lot of different oil and gas companies announce that they're doing with their record profits. They are doing share buyback schemes at big fucking sizes, millions, billions of pounds worth of buybacks. What the share buyback is when a company buys their own shares from the open market, normally because they believe that the shares are undervalued and cheaper. And so if you want to put up prices, you take those shares, you bring them back home, and then you've got your supply and demand, which you're expecting. Once the price starts going up, people want to buy it. And so there's going to be less of them, price goes up, company's worth more money, they get more money, happy them. There should probably be a tax on share buybacks, but that would involve the government not being in the pockets of the rich, wouldn't it? Well, that's not going to happen. One story left, and this is the Solicitors Regulation Authority. They have revealed that they are investigating 40 cases of alleged lawsuits against public participation. They are the SLAPs. They're saying that there are significant concerns being raised about solicitors making meritless claims on behalf of oligarchs and to stifle public discord on corruption and money laundering. Russia's invasion has shined a light on the super rich using litigation to try to silence critics and journalists reporting on allegations of corruption, which has in turn increased scrutiny by MPs and campaigners of British lawyers who act for the wealthy foreign clients, including those who are currently under sanctions by the UK and their allies. The SRA has said that solicitors are not just hired guns, which means that they should not bring cases which are not properly arguable, bring excessive or oppressive proceedings, or act in a way which could mislead or take advantage of others during proceedings. Lawyers have an obligation to report potential slaps to the regulator. Slaps are a big deal because what they do is they remove power from journalists, from newspapers, from people, because the rich, who already have a big advantage when it comes to anything that resembles justice, because they have money. And so if you were to have a story of, say, a little bit of corruption by someone, and you're going to write a story about it, what rich people can do is they can get their solicitors to sue the fuck out of you, to stop you from being able to do that story. They take all your money as well, because going to court is very expensive. And so the rich are able to mitigate justice, which isn't fair. So it's nice for the SRA to come out and point out that solicitors need to have some morals. We should see if that actually makes a difference. But anyway, I hope this has been something, and I shall speak to you tomorrow. Bye.